Hello and welcome to the Edges of Earth. My name is Brock. 2019 was yet another fantastic year full of travel for me. Now, if you're not familiar with me or my channel, it is really my goal to meet as many local people as possible and travel with them and learn things from them. And in turn, share that story with you. So this video is my 2019. Let's begin. I kicked off my journey into this country with a late bus arrival with all of the hotels closed. I actually got a police escort with sawed-off shotguns that helped me find a hotel at about 1 a.m. I visited the International Trade Fair in Dhaka and I tried some really weird rainbow tea. At about midnight, a local took me to the unloading area where trucks dropped off so many fruits and vegetables that helped supply the city of Dhaka at night. I tried various street foods such as fuchka, chotpuri, halim, a crazy weird nut, pakora, and I even went to a pita festival. I was interviewed by the Financial Express newspaper. I rode a horse carriage through Old Dhaka, walked through the ancient Panam city, visited a massive river port in southern Dhaka. Then I took a trip over to Sylhet and got to see life along the Surma River. I met some friends in a small village. I got to experience what life was like as a student at Sylhet Agricultural University. I was invited to a very small village to try hot kora, which was prepared by a local family. I tried my best to speak Sylheti with some local village people. I ate some of the best goat brains in town, and I was even escorted by some local kids who wanted to show me around their small village. One of the people that I met in Dhaka invited me to a small hometown village, and we went on a bike journey, and we also cruised down the Robbery River. I took a trip over to Barishal and got my butt kicked playing badminton. I tried some weird snacks with some of the locals. I met some really curious people walking around a local slum. I left Barishal and cruised around some of the Bangladeshi backwaters. I arrived in Chittagong and went on a small hike to a temple. I got to walk inside the shipyard that was featured in the Avengers Age of Ultron movie. I tried my best to speak some local Chittagongian. I learned how to wear my first lungi. I was invited to try Mejaner Gosto, and I even tried my best to play cricket with some local kids, but totally failed. After Bangladesh, I went and volunteered at a small underprivileged school in the middle of absolutely nowhere in Bihar, India. After about a month, I flew to China where I met a local man who was to help me for the upcoming months during my travel. I kicked off my journey in China, exploring around a park in Shenzhen and even trying some local durian pizza. I tried my first breakfast in China, which was actually crab eggs, and somehow I got convinced to wear a spa face mask in the house. I visited a botanical garden in Shenzhen. I tried my best learning a bit of Chinese while drinking wine. We visited and walked around Sea Plaza World in Shenzhen. We took a trip over to Chengdu and met a couple local people, and by the end of the day, I actually ended up giving one of the kids his first English name. I went out to lunch with a local family and I learned a little bit about an old ancient Chinese tradition. I got to experience the Shenzhen light show at night. We visited a local beach near Shenzhen and went for an absolutely epic boat ride. We took a journey over to Guilin, China, and got to experience the amazing scenery in that area. I even got to visit the Xingping mountain area, which is actually the mountain that is printed on the back of the 20 yuan note. We traveled over to Mount Hung, which apparently has millions of ginormous dragonflies. We took a trip over to Hunan province. We walked in a cave that was actually used to film in a movie back in the 80s. I hung out with a local family for a day, and in the evening we all went out to dinner. We took a trip over to Lantu Island in Hong Kong and visited the massive Buddha statue. The local man and his family and I got together and we visited Ocean Park in Hong Kong, where we rode some rides and got to explore a bit. We took a trip over to Macau and actually got lost inside one of the largest casinos on planet Earth. We visited Chung Chau Island and went treasure hunting in a cave, and surprisingly enough, I even found some treasure. We visited Tea Stream Valley in Shenzhen, where we were surrounded by thousands and thousands of massive spiders. I was fortunate to fly a drone for the first time, and it is now officially added to my arsenal of equipment. We visited a really cool beach near Shenzhen and actually got caught in a crazy rainstorm. I met up with a friend from India and actually met another one of his friends who taught me a little bit about her experience as an expat in China. We woke up one morning and visited a famous river full of fog. We visited a cave full of tons of brightly colored lights. We also visited a local park in the area where we climbed to the top of a very large rock and got to see some of the absolutely breathtaking views from the sky. We visited Wutong Mountain where we ate some really strange hot dogs. We explored around a lot of old temples inside of Dinghu Mountain. We visited a place called Seven Star Crags and explored some incredibly beautiful mountaintop areas. We took another trip back over to Hong Kong and experienced Disneyland for an entire day. We traveled to the top of Victoria Peak in Hong Kong at night. While still in Hong Kong, a couple of us got together and traveled to Llama Island, where we got to see some of the breathtaking waters, the beautiful beaches, and after a long afternoon of exploring, we stopped to have lunch next to the ocean. We traveled back to mainland China and visited the absolute biggest male part on planet Earth, and we also found a rock that had an interesting female shape as well. For a couple days, we traveled around an old ancient town near Changsha and got to see what life was like in a village. We visited the last tribe in China that is allowed to carry and use guns. We traveled to the city of Changsha and visited Orange Island. We also visited Yuelu Mountain in Changsha, and we got to go down an epic slide from the top to the bottom of the mountain. I went with a group of local people who encouraged me to try all sorts of different local street food, and in between the street food, we even had a little bit of time to visit an adult museum. We explored a mountainside village where we met some kids who invited us to play a little bit of ping pong and basketball. We took a trip over to Yingde and experienced the entire area for a couple of days. On another weekend, we walked across a giant glass bridge with a huge gorilla. The local man and one of his friends took me on another mountain full of old temples, and I finished up my travel in China by visiting the Window of the World in Shenzhen, where we got to go to the top of the Eiffel Tower replica and nearly froze to death inside of a giant snow warehouse. After China, I took a flight back to India, where I would start yet another mini adventure. And well, here I am right now surrounded by coconut trees. Now all of these stories and videos are actually part of bigger videos which can be found on my channel. There's literally hours and hours of content that you can watch. I want to thank everyone who helped me in Bangladesh, in India, and in China along my journey. You know, it's basically the people that I meet that makes the journey worthwhile. I could go and look at a mountain in any country, I could go and look at a building in any country, but it's really the people that make the journey so interesting. And I also want to thank you, the people who watch my videos. Without you, without supporting this channel, I'm not sure where I would be. Simply by you clicking and watching my videos, it supports this channel and it helps me continue to travel to make more videos to share with you. And if anyone is interested in starting to travel the world, I encourage you to start thinking and make it happen sooner than later. If not now, when? Just a friendly reminder to everyone who is on that fence. Remember, your time is running out. Start living. Take care.